to you about the three aliens. Yes, there's three, according to everything I've read upon and mentioned in the documentaries, mentioned by people around the world, and their histories and stuff like that. So there's three, and you've got to try and wrap your head around this like I'm doing. Again, it's not for me to believe or for you to believe, but it's for everyone to keep an open mind and let the idea that anything's possible. So within these aliens, there's three. There's one which is the famous one, the Greys. Then there's the one that was made famous by David Icke by saying, the royal family is part one and stuff. And then the third one is, even I'm trying to get my head around it, is one that looks like a praying mantis. Now, two of those last aliens I mentioned have basically been featured in movies. The praying mantis had an alien movie, and the lizard, of course, had that series on TV called V, where they take the skin off the face. Now, listening to David Icke, of course, and people laughing it off and stuff like that, but that's not what he's saying. He's not saying like underneath the skin or they're wearing some sort of makeup and the lizard's underneath. Not by what I gathered from it, and not by the hundreds of millions of people, well, the people, not hundreds of millions, but the people that have had these so-called conversations with these aliens. So you've got, for my understanding, for my reasoning, they all come from a different planet. So if you think about the evolution sort of side of things, it's more impossible that the lizards, definitely, if you think of our evolution, that we all came from the sea, and at one point there was dinosaurs and everything else, so they're more likely that was definitely the next stage of evolution, to be a tall, slender, sort of humanoid lizard sort of thing. And that's more likely believable than from us, from apes, because we're far removed looking like apes. Though there's some tribes and everything else that may look like, but who knows? I'm sounding a wee bit racist or whatnot, but it's the cornerstone. That's this theory from Darwin. And then, of course, the praying mantis, again, you could put down to, again, evolution. I'm not saying it's a big walking, talking praying mantis, but that's the sort of appearance it does have. So that's your three species. Now, when it came to the idea of it being in the royal family, what you've got is, you've got these, and listening to everyone that's had involved, there are some people saying, of course, of the abductions, and then when people get abducted, some people have experiences of, being pregnant or getting or made to make love and stuff like that with people from maybe different parts of the world, or basically the aliens having sex in order because their alien world is dying off and they've spent a whole generation of inbreeding. And they've not had, because of their superior past sort of powerful knowledges, that and the powers that they have mentally or whatnot, they have forgotten. It's a wee bit like the Green Lanterns sort of leaders, that they don't have the emotions that human beings do, and they want to experience that. So in order to get all that experience, and for order for their species to live on, they've got to somehow, get some of their DNA through us. And they probably, as I say, have a far superior knowledge of how DNA works. And I said in an earlier video that talks about how back in the Egyptian days and everything else, and probably because of our evolution, they knew quite a bit about DNA. And it's all connected to maybe the Holy Grail as well, which will be talked about in the other video. So you have these three species, but most of now here's the thing: the three species that I've mentioned are all peacemaking, according to people that have spoke to them, and are worried about the future and everything else. And to be honest, in all my research and stuff on abductions and everything else, no human was harmed. Now, you talk about cattle mutilations and everything else. Well, again, here's us, we're talking about, you know, we eat meat and stuff like that, and who knows, maybe the aliens were hungry or something like that. But there's no talks about eating humans, or there's no talk about torture, and those ones that do feel pain are constantly being brought back down to earth with some marks on their skins. So then we have, as I say, we have got three different types of aliens, probably all communicating with each other, and apparently is interested, or we are getting visited quite a bit on this planet. And again, theories out there that there are some human divisions that are contacting these aliens, like I said in previous videos. So that kind of puts a dent on David Icke's theory that, well, to be honest, it's not just David Icke that came up with the green reptile. Again, as I go back to Greedo, who was the African tribes person, you can look it up on YouTube. You go to David Icke verse interviews the Greedo Watto or something his name is, and he talks about them actually starting the human race and being involved in the creation of human beings. So for me, you know, for any alien being involved in sort of manipulation or doing something that is bad for our world is a wee bit benign, not benign is the word, it doesn't make sense. There's another theory going out there just now that that because we've had so much contact with the aliens that and through this pandemic and through all these tests and trials, I mean, if you think about it, we've went through quite a lot in the last few years. It's like they're trying to get our mindset, and because of the UFO sightings from 2017 that's became public, it's like somebody's trying to get us used to the idea of aliens. And so there's a theory out there that that we ourselves will stage an event where alien ships will make themselves known. But it won't be the aliens flying them, it'll be a human being. Why? Well, the theory is that it's order and control, because religion is dying off. The religion that used to control us and keep our minds busy and active and do's and rights and wrongs, that's fallen away, and we're starting to question things. So, of course, they came up with the idea of saving the world, planets, we've got to do this, we've got to obey, stay in the house, clean the air up and everything else, so it's all. But for me, I'm like, no, why would you bother doing that, especially if we have been visited by aliens and we've been in contact with them, or we've taken some technology. I'm sure they'd be peeved off the fact that we're flying about and pretending we're them. Surely if it came down to it, they themselves would make some sort of appearance, especially when I've seen videos of aliens communicating with children who then grow up to be adults and still remember and still stick with the story that's saying that they are worried about our future with technology and everything else, and aliens been sighted around army bases with weapons of mass destruction and stuff like that, so they've been reported to seeing. So there we have it. We have 3 species of alien, 3 different types, and they probably all have a common goal with us. And you think about it logically, if there's billions of stars and suns and whatnot out in the galaxy, and we're only just, well, we're quite quick off the mark if you think about how many years human beings of this calibre or whatnot have been around. We've certainly got into space rather quickly. But beside that, if there are people out there who can believe that there's aliens out there with far superior knowledge to us, far superior technology than us, then it goes to stand, probably thanks to Star Trek, but again it's fictional, but it goes to stand that if there are other alien species out there, that they could, they've put the war thing in the back burner, and they see the universe in a totally different way. So it's more easier for them to make peace with different alien species, which they can easily travel to and from each planet. And we're just the people right now that seems to be getting it right, and they don't want us to make mistakes like nuclear weapons, where they might have made the mistakes in their world. But this is all theory, this is what ifs and what ons, but again, this is all about keeping an open mind. But no matter what you hear, no matter how many alien species people talk about out there, you know, this isn't exactly the Twilight Zone. There's normal, sane people out there with college degrees, university diplomas, all going on YouTube, all making documentaries, and all saying this. And as I say, there's talks about hybrids, there's talks about alien plus human DNA mixed in, and sometimes you can spot with the eye, especially if it's like a half lizard or something, maybe the eyepiece falls away and you see the wee sort of lizard eye or something. But again, that's all probably somebody watching too much sci-fi, or is it? Again, am I 100% sure that it's true? Nope. I'm 100% sure it's positive? No, how can I be? These are people around this world claiming these stories. So for me, the best thing to do is keep an open mind. That way, when anything hits the fan, you can mentally accept it that much better, rather than being one-sided, following our religion and poo-pooing everything else because it ain't what you're thinking it is. And I've listened to so many motivational speakers about energy being the source of all life. You know, people that have examined science and the energy between one space to the other. So I think now, as religion declines, you know, and as the forefathers of Washington and America wanted to do, is look to the stars and just accept that, you know, anything is possible. So, please, if you like what I said, if you totally disagree, if you whatnot, let us know in the comments below. Thank you. No, wait a minute. Forgot one thing. Yeah, that's right. Earlier on I talked about, you know, the royal family and the lizard thing. So what's the connection? Why make the royal family the lizard thing? Well, as I said before, forget about the lizard and the reptiles and stuff. All throughout the ages, as I say, you'll see the lizard symbols all over the place. Okay, so they're worshipped as gods and everything else, called the other aliens and stuff. Right, but what I said earlier about how the aliens have said that, you know, that our race is dying. We've basically been, you know, inbreeding and all that sort of stuff, and our population is decreased and stuff. Well, if you think about the royal family, what they would do, say the hybrids and stuff, the people that have maybe throughout the years and trying to crossbreed and everything else. So we'll just imagine. All this isn't fact. There's all this. It's just jigsaw. No shit. I'm just taking what somebody else has said and then making sense of it in a logical sort of way. So if you can imagine the royal family, if you put somebody in there that can pass as a royal family, and through the generations it gets diluted, you know, but there's still that sort of gene that is connected to the sort of alien DNA. So as I say, by the time it comes to, you know, turn of the century or a few centuries ago, you know, there's very little alien light there, but again, it's still a bit of the DNA. And I believe, don't think with me, but I believe we only know certain amounts of the DNA. You know, I'm sure, I mean, I don't know, I could be way off, but do we understand everything of the DNA and what each DNA stands for? I know there are scientists that say that this DNA sort of makes it more to be gay or something, or this bit of DNA is aggressive and everything else. So there's bound to be stuff on the DNA that nobody's thinking about. So now we get, so what you got is you get intelligent alien life forms or whatnot, and you got to think, well, way back in the past that people used to worship them and everything else. So you put people into positions of power, you know, and stuff, and being a superior fucking life form, I don't think it would be all that hard. And then of course you put something in, say, the royal family, and for a long period of time in the royal family, it was being kept in-house. You know, you could only marry somebody that was a member of the royal family for years. It had to be, you know, connected in order to keep the DNA strain strong. So that's really, but of course recently we've had the DNA, you know, we've had, you know, William marrying and Harry marrying, and so maybe again this is a break away from tradition. This is something you realise, you know, we can't keep doing this. There's so little of that DNA. So I think that's where he was sort of going with the, you know, the Queen and the royal family being, you know, lizard and everything else. So that is my sort of explanation on that. Again, whether it's true, whether it's not true, it's kind of funny if it is, you know. But you know, but never say never. Who knows? So again, catch you next time.